Hi everyone, this is Beto and we are here in one more episode of Houseplant. Today we're going to be talking about cyclamens, this beautiful tuberous plant that are cultivated for its beautiful flowers. And I will be reporting my table arrangement, and with that you will see how I do my reporting, and I'm going to give you a few advices on how to care for this beautiful plant. Okay, so to start with, I have a box over here with my new pots. I have 3 little pots over here. So there we go, 3 little pots. I chose them by their color. You can see we have white and pink. This is a very similar one to this, and this is pink and a bit of dark purple. Other than that, I have as well some pots and planters indoor fertilizer, pair of scissors if I need them. This is my old table arrangement. Bit of potting mix, and this box where I'm gonna put the old soil in. So I start moving it away to this chair. As you can see, I prepared it early on today. A water bottle to water it by the end of the day, some gloves if I needed to, and a little shovel tool if I needed so as well. Okay, so there we go. I'll put the potting mix down in the ground, because they're gonna use this pot to put the old soil in it. Okay, I'll start by cleaning up this. You can see that I still have 2 plants from last year, and it's survived pretty well for me. Last year I have 3 of them, and one of them died. I overwatered it. One of the biggest thing is they don't like too much water, so they prefer to be on the drier side. And it's a trick to water it as well that I will talk to you later on today. So I know, and I noticed that here I have a plant here and a plant here, so will be some Cheerios here and here, so I will be careful to keep them, and I will replant them in the same pot with the new ones as well. Okay. I'm gonna cut off some of these old yellow leaves. And with the fresh soil, that will bring a bit more nutrients for the plant as well. You're gonna put a whole new set of leaves for me in a couple of weeks. So that's first part done. My potting mix. And I'm gonna put a thin layer of my potting mix. On the bottom of my pot. And I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of fertilizer, because this plant, although it has beautiful leaves, but because these plants like a lot, it's popular because of its flowers. The fertilizer will help the plant to push some flowers. And now is the time that I'm gonna start planning what I'm gonna do. So I want to cover the entire pot with my plant, and as well put the old bulbs in there. So I put 3 of them there, and I'm spinning around. I have a small space over here that I'm gonna put the old bulbs, tubers here as well. And it's just a matter of taking them out of the pot, put it in there, and then fill the gaps with the fresh potting mix. But just before I do that, what I will do as well is cut off these old flowers and leaves, just do a little cleanup so my pot looks its best. So take these old leaves out. Now I gotta carefully turn it upside down, squeeze the pots, squeeze a little bit, trying to not disturb too much the roots. See, the height is fine but not 100%, so we're gonna just create a bit more space. So we're gonna scratch the bottom a little bit to push it down into my pot so it sits deeper. Then I'm gonna push a little bit of this fresh potting mix around its root. So generally speaking, I don't wear the gloves as much. You can decide what is best for you, but I'm okay to get my hands dirty. I like the feeling of the soil, so I don't mind it too much to get my hands dirty. But if you prefer, just wear gloves and it's completely fine as well. So I'll put one of the old tuber here, and more potting mix around the tuber. The reason why I lost one of my tubers from last year was I overwatered it, and it's a mistake that I made that I learned with this. I learned with it. I knew that this plant don't like too much water, and I was being careful watering it all good. I thought that I was doing the right thing, but then they start dying, and then I later spoke to a friend of mine that has some cyclamens as well, and she told me that the way that I should be watering my cyclamens was from down up, not up down. And what do I mean for that? You know, when you have your garden hose or your watering can and you water the plant from the top, this was precisely what I was doing. Apparently, it's not the right thing. When we are talking about cyclamen, they don't like their leaves and the flowers to be watered to cut some water. So I learned a whole new technique, and I will talk to you about it in a second. Just gonna finish filling up this pot with the soil, and I will move on to what is the best way to water your cyclamen. And then from that point on, the other two tubes was happy, fine, surviving for me quite well. Another advice is they are shady plants, so no direct sunlight ever. And again, no watering from the top. If you keep these two variants correct, you're gonna have cyclamen for your entire year. Because as you saw, one of my tubes, my tuber didn't die down, and it was quite happy as long as I adjusted the way that I watered it. It was in a shade position, and pretty much I can tell you I neglected my cyclamen. Like, I barely watered it at all, and it was the way that my cyclamen really like it. So yeah, the more you neglect your cyclamen in terms of watering, the better they will perform for you. If you water it too much, as I say, sometimes too much love may sour your plant, your relationship with the plant. So don't suffocate them by watering them too much. Okay, so I think that's it for the repotting. So good that I put this protective plastic on top of the table. You see how much of a mess I made over here. I knew that that would be the case, so whenever you are reporting, if you're doing it outside, perhaps this is all good, but if you're doing it inside, protect your table and everything else. If you don't want to get it dirty, or if you want to get it easier to be cleaned. So this is how my table arrangement is looking at the moment. I will put a bit more of fertilizer here on the top, around where I find a bit of a gap. But it's very important that you put a layer of fertilizer in the bottom of your pot, specifically for this type of plant, because as I said, we are not going to water it from the top, we're going to water it from the bottom. So and then we're gonna go to the last part of our reporting. It is the watering. So you can see I have here my saucer, put the soil inside of it, and my saucer is big enough for my pot to sit inside nice and comfortably. And that is how we're going to be watering your cyclamen to ensure that they will not rot, because you're not going to water it from the top. Get your water on your saucer. There we go. Then you sit your saucer over there and let that water be sucked in. A bit more. That will be a bit of a challenge, but you're gonna allow your substrate to suck in the water from down up, and that is pretty much how we water our cyclamen. Again, cyclamen does not like a lot of watering, so I would leave my cyclamen without watering easily for two weeks and a half, almost 3 weeks, with no water whatsoever, because they are from Mediterranean, European Mediterranean style environment, so water is not like tropical plants that they have water all the time. They like to be watered, so don't worry too much about watering your cyclamen, and they're gonna be happy with that. I think that will help you with the success of growing cyclamen. This is on my dinner table. This is my dinner table arrangement. Love that arrangement. Look at the mess that I made. Love that arrangement, and I hope that it will help you to care and have beautiful cyclamen all year round. Thank you very much. I will see you next time. Goodbye.